Hey everyone, welcome back to the Living in Maryland channel where we discuss all things living here in the great state of Maryland. And today we are discussing an awesome new community in Odenton, Maryland called Two Rivers. Now, this is probably a community when it comes to detached single family homes, right? This is probably the community that has the most amenities that I've seen in almost all of Central Maryland. It is a newer community as well, so these are homes built in the last 1, 2, 3 years, and then they're even still finishing off a few phases. So if you're interested in new construction, you still have that option as well. So we're going to dive into a few things here. Just going to give you kind of some things to know about the community, some amenities, things of that nature. We're going to also jump into some video tour, some driving tour that I took, so you can get a good feeling of exactly what it looks like to be and to live in this community. Now, the first thing I want to discuss here is the location. So this is a great, pretty central location when you talk about being, and having access to both Baltimore and DC. Baltimore's probably 30 to 35 minutes straight up 97, and then you've got DC. DC has a little more traffic, so it's probably about the same, anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes depending on traffic. So and then DC would be just a little bit southwest of Odenton, and then Baltimore is just pretty much straight north from this community in Odenton. Now, this is also want to kind of jump into a little bit of the location. So this is in the most southern part of Odenton, and it's actually very, very close, just a stone throw from Crofton. So if you're kind of looking at a map, you're going to see Crofton right next to this community, and it is very close to that kind of that town or city line. So now if you head just straight east down Conway Road, you're going to be on Route 3, which is in Crofton, very quickly. So if you're doing research on this community and looking into what it would look like to live in this community, you definitely want to research Crofton as well, because Route 3 is going to have a lot of your shopping, your entertainment, and all that kind of stuff right there, just about 5 minutes away. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Another thing that's pretty cool about this community, and that's kind of very specific to this community, is it is almost a little isolated, and that's kind of a hard thing to find with communities in this part of Central Maryland. But for me, I'm always coming from the north, so I'm coming from from the Piney Orchard. So you're going to drive through Piney Orchard, down Piney Orchard Boulevard, and then you're going to head straight south into where this community is. And there's a good 3 to 4 mile stretch of just straight woods where you're you're coming out of those woods and then into this community, and so it's kind of got a little bit of an isolated feel to it. Now it's a very large community, so you have neighbors, you've got all sorts of stuff right there in the community. But from that sense of at least outside of the community, you do have a lot of woods, a lot of parks and things, kind of giving it a little bit of that isolated feel, which is something that I know a lot of people have kind of enjoyed when I'm kind of getting feedback from people over the last couple of years about this community. So that's kind of another thing to keep in mind, and another thing to know about this community as well. All right, so one thing to keep in mind about this community is it does have an all ages section, and then it actually does have some 55 plus exclusive parts of the community as well. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're looking for homes or whatever in this community. You are going to see both of those, so that's something to just kind of keep an eye out for. Now, when it comes to amenities, as I mentioned, this has so many different amenities, and it's a really cool family place, really cool environment where you can get out and you can meet people very, very easily with all the things that they have to offer. So they're going to have the standard kind of stuff. You got pools, you got playgrounds all over the place, you got hiking trails, but then they've got some pretty cool and unique stuff where they've got a community garden, they've got a private dog park, they've got an actual lake within this community. So if you're looking to just kind of get out, and they've got a paved trail, walking path along the lake, they've got fire pits, grills and clubhouses and things of this nature. So they really have it all when it comes to amenities and things to do for the family of all sizes. So if you're looking for that type of environment, for things to do right in your backyard, this is definitely a community that you want to check out. The Hamlet Clubhouse that is in this community is the one that's for all ages, and you've got the Village Club that's going to be exclusive for 55 plus members and residents of the community. But the Hamlet Clubhouse is going to have all sorts of different stuff. The website, I'm going to put that in the description below, so you can hop on there and check out the website that goes into a lot of depth about the community. It kind of describes itself as a luxury style, vacation style of living, and that's kind of definitely the vibe that you get when you're here. So when you're at this main community center, you've got a very large, luxurious kind of pool setting. You've got a volleyball court, nice basketball courts. You do have an indoor gymnasium. You've got a 10,000 square foot clubhouse with a meeting room. You've got game room, fitness center, all this kind of stuff that's so really cool to have right in your backyard. So you really have to drive to any of that kind of stuff. Now you are going to pay for it. I'm going to kind of go into that a little bit here further into the video, but so many things to do right in your backyard. If that's the kind of thing that you are looking for, then this is definitely a community that you need to check out. And then, as mentioned earlier, these are newer homes. So when it comes to the all-age homes, those are built by Ryan Homes. And then you've got the 55-plus kind of villa, townhome style homes. Those are built by Brookfield Residential and NV Homes. All right, next, just wanted to give you a few miscellaneous things to kind of keep in mind or be aware of when it comes to this community. So these homes do tend to have smaller yards. It's just kind of tends to be, what it is with these newer homes. They do make the lot sizes on the smaller side. It hasn't been a huge, pushback from people in my experience, because you do have so much community space, open space, walking space, all those sorts of things. So people don't tend to complain about the yard sizes, but it is something that has come up. So just like, people to be aware of that kind of going into this. Now, as mentioned, the HOA, so the amenities, when it comes to these sorts of things, it's paid via the HOA. So every resident, from what I've seen, has paid somewhere between $168 to $190 a month, which goes towards the HOA for all these kinds of amenities. It does fall somewhere in that range. So that's just something that's going to be property specific. So once you start looking, we can kind of narrow that down as far as exactly what that's going to be. But that's the range you can expect to be in for the HOA. And then in this community, as most new communities, there is what's called a front foot development fee. Now, what this is reimbursing the developer and the builder for things like sidewalks, sewer lines, those types of miscellaneous things. So it's called either a deferred water and sewer charge or a front foot fee. A lot of times they're used kind of interchangeably. Now for this community, it's $700 a year, and these are typically done on bonds for 30 years from the date of construction. So once the home has reached age 30, that falls off, and then it's no longer paid. So for the first 30 years of that home, the owner is going to be aware of and have to pay that fee that is passed along when you sell the property to the new owner, but it is something that you definitely want to be aware of that's going to come with this community. All right, so next we're going to jump into some of the video and driving footage that I have for you guys here. If you ever have any questions about buying or selling a home here in Maryland, I am a licensed realtor here in the state of Maryland and would love to help in any way possible, answer any questions or discuss your real estate goals. Feel free to reach out however you're most comfortable, and let's jump into that video footage.